Okay, y'all. I'm Nikki Hines with Porchlight Realty. I had this crazy idea, and I'm so grateful for Brogan for being my guinea pig on this one. But essentially, I wanted to sit down with clients. That way, people could have the opportunity to learn from their experiences, and also I can kind of share mine. Just a unique, different thing that I'm trying. So thanks for listening, and this is Brogan. So tell us a little bit about you, your experience with buying and selling, and shoot.
Well, I'm Brogan. We have bought 5 different properties at this point, and we have sold 1. We actually keep most of our properties for rentals, which is why those numbers are so skewed. But that's kind of my experience in real estate.
How is your experience buying and selling here, and what is your next adventure that you're already on?
Our next adventure is we're in the process of buying land in Colorado. That's where we're from. We wanted to have a piece of home to go home to once my husband's done with the military. And so that was kind of a big goal of ours, that we wanted to have a piece of home. So that's kind of our latest adventure.
Yeah. It is the most beautiful piece of land ever.
Yes. I can't wait for you to come visit someday.
One day.
Yes.
It's the far plan, but we're going to have to like camp or something one day.
No, for sure.
So what about here? So tell me about how you found my name, which is a really cool story. Yes. And then just kind of how your experience was when we were under contract and shopping and all the fun things.
Yeah.
Highlight reel.
We knew that we were coming to Arkansas, and I was driving around with my friend Sarah, and I said, "Oh, we're going to Arkansas." And she said, "Oh, my husband Aaron, his childhood friend Joshua, his wife's a realtor." And so she has real estate experience as well as an assistant. And so she kind of knows what she's doing. So she looked you up and kind of did some digging for me.
Right.
And we read some of your reviews. And there
was
very
few at that time, right?
Like there was only like 4 or 5at the time, but there was one that stood out, and I was like, I have to talk to this girl. And I messaged you, and I probably was a little standoffish at first. I was like, this is me. This is what I like. I like things very organized. I'm very particular.
Yep.
I'm very picky. I will be interviewing more people. And
no pressure.
And you came back, and our personalities meshed so well that I actually did not interview anybody else, which is I broke a cardinal rule of mine. I always say, and I'll say again later, is like, you need to interview more than 1 realtor, more than 2. I say at least 3. But we connected just so well that I was totally comfortable with you from the get-go.
I like to joke because there's all these like memes and things out there that are like, you shouldn't get that close with your clients. And I'm like, yeah, no, you totally shouldn't.
We don't go out for girls' nights and
birthday parties and
come over to my house for cookie parties. And
you definitely set a tone, and it's funny because it's something I kind of had to learn, that not every client will be my best friend, but I got very lucky. I got very lucky. So with all your experience, what are the things that stand out to you as far as interviewing and realtors that you would suggest choosing based on some cardinal rules? What are those?
I think the biggest thing that I look for in a realtor is somebody who's going to be honest with you, because there are a lot of realtors out there, and there's going to be a lot of people that promise you the moon and the stars and the sun. And then when they can't deliver, the client is the one who suffers, and the client is the one who's upset. Oh, I can list your house for $50,000 more than anybody else. Great, but is it going to sell?
Will it sell?
Will it appraise? So can they actually deliver on something like that? So I don't look for somebody who's going to charge less, who's going to promise to sell it for more, or anything like that. I look for somebody who is honest. And somebody who says, this is the reality of the market. This is how long your house is going to sit. Maybe your house is a little older. Maybe it needs some work done. You know what? You're going to need to put a new roof on it. You're going to need new flooring. You're going to need a coat of paint. Somebody who is going to be honest with you about a transaction is someone who's going to have your best interest at heart, not somebody who's promising the moon and the stars and to do it at a deal of a price.
Right.
So that's what I look for, is someone who knows the market, who's honest, and who does their research.
Yeah. I think that's so true. Like, it is something I've definitely rooted my business in the fact that I'm not afraid to have a hard conversation. As much as they're not fun. One of my mentors, when I first got into real estate, she is a family of realtors. I mean, they are like 50 plus years of experience at least at this point. And one of their daughters just got into real estate as well. So, I mean, they are a lineage and I love them. But they told me, it was like first or second day that I was with them, they were like, you eat the frog every morning. Whatever thing that you don't want to do today, you do that first. You don't wait, because it's only going to get worse. It's like a lie. It's going to build and build if you don't address it. So as much as, especially in listings, I mean, it can be hard when you know you're interviewing and you know that this is the best foot forward, this is what the data says, but you know that there's going to be people that don't do that. So I think that's amazing advice. Like, just because it's the biggest number and the biggest walk away doesn't mean that that's really going to happen. And we can advise as much as humanly possible, but every day is different in real estate. Today's market isn't tomorrow's market. So I think that's incredible. So,
and the resources might be different that what a client has versus what a realtor has, but clients can go and do their own research too and see what the comps are saying, what things in your neighborhood are selling for. And if it matches with what the realtor is saying, or if it is way out of proportion, because that, again, is kind of a big red flag.
Now, to kind of switch gears, as an investor, someone who buys for future rentals, you don't buy to sell usually. What do you recommend to make sure, because you have great experience and you've rented properties and things, what do you recommend that any home buyer, because I really like to lecture, just because this is your home and this is going to be where you live and you have things that you want, every home should be looked at as an investment, because it is at the end of the day. Even if you plan on living in it for 20 years, it is still a huge investment. So what are your recommendations as far as things that people should look for in homes that will benefit them in the long run? Good question.
It is a good question. It's a great question. And again, just to answer honestly, like, when you buy a house, you can go and make it yours. Absolutely. Go and do, if it's a gallery wall, if it's an accent wall, go do something niche, go do something really cool that's very you. Absolutely. That's the part of being a homeowner that's so great, is you can turn it into your home.
It's yours.
However, when you go to sell, and again, this speaks more to listing than anything, when you go to sell or when you go to rent, there's going to be pictures of your house, and not everybody has the same taste that you do.
No.
And maybe you need a coat of paint. It's okay to make it yours, but then when you go to let somebody else in and make it theirs, I think you need to kind of give it a blank slate. And I think you're going to get more people looking at your listing that way.
If it's neutral and feeds the masses.
Yes, absolutely.
I always like to joke, it's the reason why you don't see a lot of pink cars driving around. It's because they don't sell. I mean, just period. They don't. No. I mean, that you're not going to bring the same value. It's just it's facts. It's not fun, but it's facts.
To go with that example, if you want a pink car, then you'll go and you'll buy a car and then you'll paint it, or you'll
you're not going to buy one like that. It's so true.
And again, that's an investment into something that makes it yours, and that's great. But for a home, if it's not going to be yours, you need to be able to step back and say, what do other people like?
Right. Okay. So another shift, I guess, with buying and selling, or buying so many properties and selling one, what do you think is the biggest red flag that you've experienced as far as realtors go? What is something that you instantly can say, like, I know that realtor doesn't have their best interest or isn't experienced enough, or what do you think is something someone could look out for that's like, this is wrong, don't buy that,
Yeah. I would say listing photos. Listing photos are something they drive.
The photographer back there is like, yes!
They drive me nuts, because so we were actually out to dinner, I think it was for my birthday last year, and we had another friend with us, and she was getting ready to sell, and I made the comment, I don't remember saying this, but she said that I said this. She goes, you said nobody wants to see your dirty towel. And I was like, I don't remember saying that, but it is true. She goes, I remembered that when we went to go sell our property. When you're selling your property and you're listing photos, I'm sorry, nobody wants to see the towel that you've had for 15 years that is off color and whatever. Nobody wants to see your 18 bottles of perfume. Nobody wants to see your shampoo bottles in the shower. Your listing photos should look professional.
Like a magazine.
It should look like a magazine.
As much as you can possibly achieve.
Like a model home. And if you have,
Yep.
you know, if you have to shove stuff in closets, I don't care. Or if you declutter or
The
whatever
closets
you
in the
have to do.
garage, stuff them.
Yes.
You can pack those babies full.
Yes, but you should depersonalize your home. You should declutter your home, and you should, as much as possible, stage it to, again, it's not for you, it's for somebody else to look at your home. If I go through 3 listing photos and there is immediately a red flag that I see in a photo, I won't look at the rest of the house.
Right.
That house is off the market for me.
Yep.
So you have to have professional photos. If a realtor says, oh, I can take some with my cell phone and they're great, or I have a cheap photographer or whatever, they're not going to be doing a good job.
No,
that is an immediate red flag.
It's the first impression that anybody gets of your home when they look at your listing photos. That is the number one thing that they see, and they go yes or no to looking at it in person.
Yes.
Why wouldn't you put your best foot forward? So, oh my gosh, such good advice. Okay, so on the buying side, when you're interviewing realtors and things, obviously a connection, I think, is one of the biggest things you need. If you do not instantly feel comfortable with the person that you're working with, I think that is everything, because if you feel uncomfortable to ask hard questions with them and they don't welcome those and you feel attention, you're not going to be happy at the end of the day. I mean, because you're going to have to ask weird questions. There's going to be something that comes up. There's a lot of communication that goes on. But as far as like the shopping process and things like that, is there anything in a realtor that you either enjoyed about me or stood out to you in the past? Good, bad, ugly, anything like that?
I think it's more of looking for someone who's going to be your advocate, because they're really the one who's having the conversation with the other realtor about what your expectations are when you're buying. To use the example of our house, there was some stuff that was just left unfinished. And to anybody else, it probably wouldn't have been a big deal, but I could see it. And I said to you, I said, this is not okay. And you said, you know what? I agree. It's not okay. And you said, your only power move is to not sign your closing documents and force them to fix it, because otherwise they won't fix it. Right. And so having someone who's an advocate for you and saying, no, you know, instead of saying, oh, we'll just take care of it later, you said, absolutely not. This is what you wanted. This is what you expect. You're paying a lot of money for it. And you advocated for us, and they were a little
finally
upset,
did it.
but you know,
they finally did it.
It got done.
Yes.
And that's really all that mattered to me and all that I cared about. So having someone who can advocate for you. Right. And I know that you don't like to describe yourself as a bulldog, but I think
we just talked about this.
I think that you are. And I think there's a difference between a bulldog and a bully, because a bulldog is someone who's going to advocate for their clients and get them the best deal. And sometimes the best deal is a fair deal. You know, you're not trying to screw anybody on either side. I think you're trying to find somewhere in the middle that's fair. But also when you see something that's unfair, saying, no, you need to fix that.
Not being afraid to say something. And it's funny because Brogan's sitting down, but Brogan is over 6 feet tall. So the thing that was wrong was very high up. So of course the seller was like, no one is ever going to see that. I'm like, both of these people that will live in this house are over 6 feet tall. Just because the average person can't see it doesn't mean they can't see it. So it was actually a really great, learning thing for me, because it was truly one of those moments where I realized, like, I can put my foot down with people. That other agent, I respect her so much. She's been in the industry for 30 years, and I was year 1.5 when you bought your house.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And I literally had just had a baby. There were so many things going on, but it was like, no, I am not letting this happen, you know? And that's where, like, I always like to say, like, I don't describe myself as a bulldog because I'm not coming out of the cage unless someone gives me a reason to, you know? Like, at the end of every day, I tell all my clients, buyer and seller, like, I am not someone that wants a fight going into a deal. I don't. Like, why would you? You're going to be a buyer or seller. You're going to be on the other side of that table at some point in life, hopefully, you know, if you take real estate seriously, which I think everyone should. But I want a fair deal for everyone, because that to me is right. That is just. That is, you know, like, but the second I feel like something's not fair, then, you know, sometimes you just got to get serious. It doesn't mean you have to be ugly. It just means that you lay out the facts. Like, this person's tall. This is a problem for them. You know, like, do what is right, you know, and that's where I don't have a problem. If I feel like it's the right thing, and, you know, at the end of the day, if I don't necessarily completely agree with my client, like, even if I thought maybe, oh, that might not be the most reasonable, I'll say, like, hey, this might not be the most reasonable, but if it matters to you, it matters to me.
But
because
and I
at
think
the end
that
of the
goes
day,
back to the honesty part of it too, of like, I want someone who's gonna be like, if it were me, maybe this isn't the fight that I would pick, and I am willing to listen to it and be like, yeah, no, maybe you are right, but that was one that you went out and you were like, no, if it's a big deal to you, I'm gonna go make it happen.
Right.
And I think that goes back to the honesty and the integrity that we were talking about before.
Which I think at the root of everything to me is like what should be and why everyone who is a realtor should be a realtor. And unfortunately, that's not always the case. Yeah. So, just on an end note, I guess, I don't even know how I want to ask it. What would you say, like your experience with me as opposed to other real estate agents, what do you think stands out? And what do you think like is the like most important part about, or your favorite experience, I guess, working with me that stood out to you that you're like, I can trust her and in future deals? Because like she has bought another house since we worked together and didn't ask me for help. Mm-hmm. And then you just went under contract on that land and you did ask me for help. So kind of what was that difference between those experiences that you went, wait a minute, I want Nikki's help from now on?
Yeah. Try not to throw other people under the bus.
That's okay. That's okay.
I think that part of it is that we've just built a bond, and it goes back to you saying like not everybody's going to be your friend, and that's okay. But part of it is that we've built a friendship, and there's some trust that's there after almost 3
Hopefully
years.
A little.
After almost 3 years of friendship now.
Yeah.
And yeah, the house that we bought that we didn't ask in another state, that we got the name of an agent from somebody else that I know, and the agent was fine. She's been
great house. I love that house.
It's a great house. There's nothing wrong with the house. It's a great house. It just was not the same experience, and I can't really put it. I don't know why. Right. It just wasn't. We compare everybody to you now. We compare everybody in real estate and in business to you. I'm like, would Nikki do this? No. Okay, I don't want anything to do with you then. Like it just, you made the whole experience something memorable. You were professional and friendly. You were a bulldog,
hard balance to
but
find.
Not a bully. Yes, no, it is a balance, and there's the balance between again being a bulldog, not a bully, being knowledgeable, and if you don't know, going and finding the answer. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine if somebody doesn't know something and they say I don't know, and they just leave it at that. You can say, I don't know, let me go find out. Let me look. You. I have resources, I have mentors, I have whatever it is that is going to know, and I will get you an answer, and I'm going to call you right back. Yeah. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. Right. There is something wrong with saying, I don't know, and just leaving it at that.
Yeah, just being okay with it being.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will never claim to be the smartest person in the room, but.
I don't know, it's not a big deal,
Yeah.
So, and then recently on the land purchase, we reached out to you because you had said, God, I don't know, maybe sometime in the last year, if any of my friends or clients are looking to move in another state and I can't help you, I'm a part of, a networking, a group of people that I will find you someone. And I said, great. Here's 5 places that I would like for you to look into for me.
Just like only like 800-mile radius of searching.
Yes. And
one of like the biggest states in the nation, right? Like,
yes. And you did. So then you went and found someone, pre-interviewed him for me, and kind of came back to me and was like, I think you're going to like him. Your husband might not, but I think you're going to like him. And since I'm doing
you do all the communication,
it, that matters a little bit more.
Yeah, you were definitely one where I'm like, are you sure you're married and that he exists? Like, is he a real person? Like, I need to talk to him on the phone. He's signing this stuff, but like,
you're like, is there a driver's license I can look at?
I think I did ask you at one point. I'm like group text, like, hey Chase, I just need to know you're real.
Yes. No, I think you did ask for his driver's license at some point. But
he showed up to the showings when y'all came up here.
Yes. But yeah, you like pre-interviewed this other agent for us, and you know me well enough, and part of that is friendship, but part of that is we've done business together now.
Yeah.
You knew me well enough to know exactly what I was looking for, what I did not like about maybe the
Other past experiences.
and you said this is going to be a great fit for you, and sure enough it was. And Chase even did adore him.
Loves him.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it was the best experience.
Yes.
We had so much fun. He's a great person, and
such a good man.
Chase says that we are going to just build an empire someday, and like we need you to just come along and be part of it.
I'm coming. I really love Arkansas at the end of the day,
awesome. But we just want to take you everywhere with us.
Stop it. Okay, so you did say something. I know I said that was going to be my last question, but it hit me. Okay, so you know, and obviously you are one of them, military clients that are PCSing all over the world. I have helped so many clients from other countries. If you have to buy sight unseen,
which we have done.
Yes.
More than once.
Buying sight unseen, obviously you've recommended things for realtors, but what do you think is like a non-negotiable? If you're buying sight unseen, what are the things that you recommend that they make sure is done by their realtor?
Skip an inspection. Get the best inspector that your realtor recommends. I at the end of the day, they're between $250, maybe $450.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that the most expensive is always the best one, because it's not the case. But again, you should reach out to multiple people or see who your realtor recommends. And when we did it, you knew exactly kind of how meticulous my husband and I are, and said this is going to be the right inspector for you. You have to have, in my opinion, it is worth the money, even if it's extra money, to go and get the best inspector. Or if you're buying new construction, a lot of the times they don't require the inspection because they just have somebody come by.
Not at all in Arkansas. Arkansas is not required at all on any purchases, which is crazy. I'm like, who doesn't pop the hood on the car? Like, you know.
No, I don't care if it's a new construction.
I have a lot of car analogies. I don't know why.
Whatever, if it's not required, whatever it is, go and pay the $400 for the inspection. There is so much that gets missed. Yeah. Especially new construction. It doesn't matter that it's a new house.
No one's lived in it. No one's tested it. You need someone to go in there and test them.
Yes, and make sure that the wiring is done to code and all of the things. Just because somebody with the builder's organization has come by and said, "Oh, great, the microwave was delivered."
Right. You can live there.
That doesn't mean anything. So, especially when it comes to new construction, get the inspection. Even if it's extra money, it is worth the peace of mind for $200 to $400 to get the inspection.
Incredible advice.
And especially sight unseen, like
there's a lot of pressure there. There's a lot of pressure there, and I will say something to tag on to that. If you are new construction, and there is a lot, and a lot of times there can be, because again, no one has lived there. Get a reinspection is something you did.
Yes.
You pay them to come back out, which is it fun to pay?
Or sometimes you don't even pay for them to come back out.
Depending on,
they say, here's the list, to give it to the builder. The builder goes and fixes it, and then they'll, then you contact the inspector again, and they'll come back and make sure everything's done.
Yep.
And again, that's their job. And sometimes that's the only leverage that you have of saying, no, look, I had an inspector come out and say, this needs to be fixed, and it's not fixed yet. And don't just, we'll do it later. We'll do it after closing. No, it needs to be done before you sign that paperwork, because they're not going to come back out ever. You will never see that builder again.
That's not always true, but unfortunately, Brogan is very experienced at this. It can definitely happen.
It can happen.
It can definitely happen, even though, and that's the worst part about real estate. I will say it's probably my biggest pet peeve is a lot of times things can come down to like, are you willing to sue over that if it doesn't get done the right way, or you have to decide if you're truly willing to move forward. And that's why I say like signing those closing documents is the biggest power that you have. If you accept a home, you accept a home. And after closing is not when you address problems.
And going back to the sight unseen part, there was a house actually in our neighborhood that we were looking at, and Nikki went out to look at it, and she was there all of 30 seconds, and she said, "I will not put you in this house." And I said,
The
why?
booger mural on the wall.
She was like, the walls are dirty, you know? So, and again,
I'm not kidding.
that goes back to trust though, and having somebody who's honest with you, not like, oh, it's fine, you know, it just needs
dirty house.
It just needs a little clean, or it just needs a little TLC or a little bit of this, you know, having someone that was something we hadn't even met yet, and was establishing that trust of, no, I'm not even going to show you this house because it is not up to the standard that I have as you, like for you, the client.
Yeah.
Well,
and I could already tell, because that was something, and it's something that I think buyers are scared to do that Brogan is not scared to do, because you're you. But I want information about these houses before you even go look at them. And it's funny, I kind of get some flack from realtors sometimes. It's like, why do you turn them off before they even see it? And it's like, no, I dig. I want to know what the age of the roof is. I want to know, like, if they have any documents they can provide, you know, to just let us know if it's even worth our time to go look at it. And that's actually something you taught me, because a lot of people just want to run out and see a house. And you were like, no, don't go video it. Just ask, blah, 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 blah. And like, I kind of took the things that you always wanted to know, and I'm like, that's good. Like, that is so good. What is the age of the roof? What is the age of the HVAC? Have they had their HVAC serviced? You know, like, you always had
the septic tank. Like, has it been serviced? Has it been pumped?
Right.
You know?
Right. So that's something that I kind of took from you, like, that you taught me, like, you know, like, get the information up front, because why go waste an hour of everyone's day when 3 questions being answered may say, no, I don't want to go see that house. So thank you for doing that too.
You were also like 30 weeks pregnant. So for me, I
just a few minutes pregnant, no big deal.
I was not going to drag you out of the house or out of work, or out, you know, there's other things that can be done when it can just be hey, just find out, you know, this little tidbit.
Yeah. Something you didn't mention, by the way, and I didn't ask, so guilty. Because, you know, we're just going to keep dragging this out forever. But
so much to talk about.
The lenders. So I use Brogan as...
Let's talk about the lenders.
I use Brogan as an example all the time when I have buyers, because they always ask, like, who's the best lender? And literally, I cannot steer anyone towards anybody. I know who I've worked with, and I know my clients' experiences. So my favorite thing to say is, well, I have this one client who's a little bit more OCD than me, and she interviewed how many local lenders? I couldn't even tell you. It was at least 12. I gave you a list of at least 20.
A lot.
And you said, I want all the top lenders in your area. And I was like, okay. And I was like, okay. I was like, I already have a list of like 5. I was like, let me find you more. So I'm just dumping these names all over the place. And
then I called people that
that weren't on my list. Yeah. Yes. And so it was so funny, because she did end up choosing, and it was my personal lender when I bought my home that the owner of Porchlight recommended. She was on her list too. So it was very reassuring, because it was one of those, like, I did trust her so much, but no one had done that level of research. So now it's my favorite to be like, well, someone's interviewed 20 lenders and this was the top one. Yeah. It's very easy to like stand behind her now, because that was your experience. But it was very funny that I delivered my baby, and it wasn't even 10 hours later, and a lender was calling me like, why didn't she choose me? I'm like, well, this is a good reason why.
Because like, you were rude.
He was rude.
He was so rude.
But that was funny. I was like, I know you'll never be on the list again. Like, you know, I'm in the hospital. He had literally liked it. Yeah.
And he was so nice funny up until that point too. He really was. I really liked him, but his fees were just, there was no reason to have the fees that he had. And I get it. It's business, and that's his business.
So top things to look for in a lender. While we're on the subject, we're going to knock it all out.
No, call more than one lender. And this isn't directed at you, but I feel like some realtors are like, oh, I work with this lender.
They have partners.
And that's great. But as someone who's removed from it, I'm thinking, why?
What's in it for you?
Right. What's in it for you? And or is there anything in it for you? Is there anything in it for me? Like, I don't think there's anything in it for me. So why are you pushing this one person? So I'm willing to entertain the conversation.
Right. See what they're all about.
Right. Because in your case, you recommended her for a very good reason. But that's not the case for all realtors. There could be some sort of something, I don't know. But call more than one lender. Call more than 2 again. Yeah. And as much as you can, every lending agency or bank is going to have different fees.
Different programs.
Different programs. Try to get it as evenly matched as you can so you can get a fair comparison and then go from there. And again, part of it is how knowledgeable they are. Part of it is, you know, that going back to the honesty and integrity part. Part of it is kind of just your gut too.
Yeah.
And then part of
the
it
relationship.
Is,
I mean, it's crucial.
And we enjoyed this specific lender so much that we used her a second time and tried to use her most recently for a third time, but the land is
complex.
Yes. And so that had to be done locally in Colorado. But we will continue to use her because she just is
gold.
Awesome.
She is gold.
And what's funny is the purchase that we did in another state with a realtor that we did not go through you to find for us. We said, this is our lender that we're using. And
she didn't
I don't know what was, but like she did not communicate well with the lender at all. No, because she would call me and say, hey, is the lender working on this? And I said, of course she is. Like she'll call you if there's something missing. And she was like, oh, the holidays and all this. And she was panicking. And I was like, this lender
job's getting done.
This lender is the best at what she does. I need you to step back and calm down because I like her more than you.
Oh no.
Sorry, that was a little too honest.
I appreciate
that
the
might
honesty.
Have been a little too mean,
but it's just it is truly a testament to the relationship that you have with the people you're working with will make or break how you feel about a transaction, even though you love that house. And, you know, I don't think y'all have any regrets of purchasing it or anything like that.
It's the perfect house.
It was the experience overall just wasn't the same because you didn't have a good foundation at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's a huge statement. And lenders, when I tell you, there are like different ways you can partner, like advertising and things like that with a lender and a realtor. I mean, we do things like open houses where a lender may sponsor it, you know, and help provide food and things like that. So like, not to say that those lines can't get crossed, but they shouldn't.
Right.
You know, and that's something that, again, it goes back to there's a lot of things that you can do right and wrong, and we are our own business owners. You know, like at the end of the day, I'm a 1099 employee. My broker answers for me to make sure I'm legally in compliance, ethically in compliance. But what I do every day, what I provide to you, how I speak with you, how I negotiate your deal, I mean, as long as I'm ethically and legally within these parameters, there's so many different ways it can be handled. Well, thank you so much for doing this. This is so fun. And y'all, whoever's watching this, let me know what you like. Let me know because we're going to keep trucking. Thank you for doing this.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking me.